So we can make a more accurate cut. Why do we have to? What's something that one of the downsides of solid lumber? So you guys had warping, right? So some of you guys noticed that when you guys were using the longer pieces, okay, so that large material, it was warped, they had some cups. Okay, so we have rough dimensions so that we can get rid of that warping and eventually end up making it square. Okay? One thing that I wanted to show you guys, if you ever lose your packet, on that website, or my website where all those daily questions are posted, if you guys scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's the course syllabus. Okay, so basically what handed out the first day. That is also attached those work lab safety rules, so those ones that you need to turn in. I think most of you guys got those turned in, but if not, you can print those off. So right down here, you can see this is the course syllabus. You open that up, you print the last 2 pages, and that has your safety sheets. Also here, this PDF, that's your, basically the packet, the one with all the grading rubrics, everything like that. So if you may misplace it, you can go here and print it, because all I'm going to do is if I find stuff laying around, like if I find a grading rubric that's laying around, it's ripped out of the packet, I'm just going to toss it. Okay. So you guys have enough spots where you can keep your material. You can keep it either in here or out in the shop or in a binder, take it with you. So as part of the cleanup, make sure that you guys have your stuff. If there's a large packet that I find, all I'm going to do is take it in this filing cabinet and throw it in there. Okay, so if you want to look for that, you can do that as well. All right, so going back to rough dimensions while I get this set up. Maybe it'll be easier. Okay, so like I said, we have rough dimensions because we want to eventually get all our material square. And what we mean by square is that you want to have a flat surface to work off of and all opposing edges, so like your edge, end, and surface, or your face, excuse me, you want to make sure that those are 90 degrees to each other, okay? So you want to make sure that it's 90 degrees parallel and also flat, okay? And obviously it depends on what you're referring to, if it needs to be 90 degrees or flat. Okay, what I want to do too, just a quick refresher, is that here you guys should be writing down your daily board work questions. And again, I'm not necessarily working on, looking to see if they're correct. I'm just looking to see if you guys at least attempted it. Okay, so I'm not going to go through, because I mean there's 20 of you guys. I'm not going to sit there and read every question. I want to make sure that you guys are at least attempting. What the time spent on these 2 columns, because we haven't dealt with those yet, you guys can go ahead and copy these down while I'm writing. So it's day 2, day 5, and day 6. So that was yesterday and Monday. The reason why we end up having this is because, again, everything's about manufacturing, right? In order to make money, you got to turn out as much product as you can, have a high quality, and as little amount of time as possible. So no one really, unless you're like a very fine, like high precision cabinet maker or fine furniture maker, no one really does it, this process. They don't take one product through start to finish, right? It's all about assembly lines and manufacturing. Okay. So what this says here, the first part you guys will do will pretty much all be the same, but once we start getting towards, out in the shop and you work at your own pace, these will all be different, okay? So like the 15 minutes you spent on the second day was identifying parts of the box, okay? The next, on the 5th day, it says BOM, Bill of Materials, Finished Dimensions, okay? Yesterday was selecting material for legs, okay? And again, what this is for is we're going to kind of add this up towards the end and see how much time did we really spend on this. Okay, so just round it to the nearest 5. I don't need seconds or anything like that unless you want to get real precise. But you know, did you spend 10, 15 minutes? Basically, how much time were you out in the shop? How much and what did you work on? So like, were you working on sanding or were you working on cutting out your design? Because like I said, once we get out into the shop and you guys are starting to work at your own pace, this column is going to differ from everyone else. Okay. Make sense? All right. So I talked about why we had bill of materials. If you guys look on your bill of materials sheets, you should have your finished dimensions. So thickness, width, and length. This will be due, this section right here, by Friday. Okay? So Friday when you come to class, you should have that completed. One of the things that I wanted to mention to you guys is go ahead and look at your, specifically your handle section. So again, we have 2 handles, but on our number of pieces, we only said 1. Okay? And we'll talk more about that when we get to the planer, why we have it. But your overall width, if we look on this drawing, what did you guys put for width? 1.5. So it's 1.5 inches wide, 1.5, and length. The overall length is going to be 6 inches. However, our planer can't handle that small material, otherwise it'll end up getting stuck in between the. So we actually need to take 2, so if I use this as an example, we have to take 2 of our handles and put them together in one section. So like this would be a handle and this would be a handle. Okay? It'll be 12, but we have to take into account other, squaring up the ends, the width of the saw blade. So we're just going to say 13. So the overall length is going to be 13.00 inches. Okay? All right. Now, what we're going to be working on, if you want to outline, basically, you don't have to do this. I'm just doing to help you guys see. This is the only section that we really deal with rough dimensions, right? So one of the benefits of plywood, again, was that it doesn't warp as much as compared to solid material. Yeah, go ahead. So you have your solid dimensions, or solid pine, right? It's solid all the way through, but one of the downside is that, again, it tends to warp when it dries. So when we deal with that, you have rough sawn lumber, which is what you guys are dealing with right now. And you want to take it down to your finished thicknesses, okay? So right now, I think someone in this class pointed out that one of their materials was 1 inch thick. Yeah, okay? So it comes in 1 inch thick dimensions so that we can deal with the warpness. Now, if you want to make a note that solid lumber, you're going to have your rough dimensions. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up adding 1/4 of an inch to the thickness, 1/2 inch to the width, and 1 inch to the length. Okay? So really all you do is notice that when you only deal with rough dimensions when you have solid material, and to figure out or to remember how much you add at each measurement. Thickness is 1/4, double that, it gives you your width. Then you deal with your length, okay? And it's the same process that we're dealing with the dimensions. So first you deal with your thickness for final dimensions, then you deal with your final width, and then last you deal with your final length, okay? So it always goes in that, it goes thickness, width, length, okay? 9 times out of 10, that's what you'll do. We're cutting it to rough length so that we can just break it down into manageable sizes. But once we do that, then we're going to deal with thickness, width, and length. Okay, so all you're going to do, this section here, and this is going to be due by Friday, is you're going to go through, and if we're looking at our handles, okay, our handles, if we have 3/4 of an inch, which is the same as 0.75, we add 1/4, what's that going to be? 1 inch, right? So I'm going to have 1 inch here. Oh, you guys should know this, but it should be 0.25, 0.5, and 1.0, okay? If you're using decimals, okay? We look at our width. The overall, or the finished width needs to be 1.5 inches. What's our rough width going to be? 2, okay? So you're going to have a piece of lumber that's 2 inches wide, okay? Length is going to be what then? If we had 1 inch? 14, right? Okay. So it's going to be 14 inches, and you're going to do that for your legs as well. The top, you'll end up doing that the same. Okay? So you'd end up just going through adding quarter, half, and then 1 inch. Okay? When you guys are working in the lab, because this is pretty much all we have left to do, when you guys are in your lab, make sure you're getting enough material so that you can grab all 4 of your legs. So you should have enough material to get both your long legs and your short legs. So once you have that, enough material to get all 4 of your legs, you're pretty much done with the step that we need to do today. Okay? Then we'll go through the joiner tomorrow, and then I'll demonstrate the joiner on Friday. Okay? So in the lab, if you guys have enough material for all 4 of your legs, you're fine. Like I said, some of you guys only have 1 or 2, but like I said, you need to have all 4 because you're going to take all 4 of them through at the same time. If you end up finishing ahead, you can start watching those videos. I posted on Edmodo, the joiner do, don't. Okay, the same thing that we did for the radial arm saw. There's 18, try and get 18. There's the second video that you guys, if you flip back to here, you guys could watch this video, the number 2. How many of you guys actually watched number 1? Okay. Alright, so if you guys need to watch number 2 here, you can use that. Again, this is also in that packet online, so if your packet's left at school, you can go online to the website. You should be able to scroll down and find the second one, or just like I said, go to the YouTube address and it should be 02 whatever it is, wood chest. Okay. So you can either watch that, the joiner videos. You can work on this. Again, that's due Friday. Or lastly, you have these objects here. This sheet is also due Friday. Okay. So basically Friday is going to be kind of the check-in day to make sure that you have this completed, the joiner videos, the bill of materials, and your reading multi-views. All right, so you guys can go ahead and get to work.